Ooh, sexy topic today.
It is indeed. This is one I labored over.
Labored over?
Oh man, I did. This decision.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. When I asked my wife to marry me, it was like I got to figure out how I'm going to cover the cost of this engagement ring. And I remember it very distinctly because we had at that point I think started to commingle our funds, and we had a threshold of how much could be spent, without the other one knowing, right?
Yep.
And so I ended up having to call a banker back in my grandparents' hometown and asking him if I could borrow money. And it was super slick. He was like, "How much do you need? Okay, what are you buying? Oh, good. All right, good luck. Here's your check." And then he either wired the money or sent a cashier's check. But I remember laboring over how much should I spend on this engagement ring. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you have any idea how much engagement rings are?
I have no idea other than I have no idea how much engagement rings cost. I do know what the quote-unquote rule of thumb is, and how much to spend.
Do tell.
Which is, if you take your annual income or salary and you divide it by 4, you're taking 3 months of your salary. So that's what you should be paying for an engagement ring. Now, I don't know who said this.
Yeah, the Diamond Brokers of America said that, I think.
The
DBA.
Spending 3 months. So for me, that's kind of like, first of all, it would be a good idea if I just started my business. I want to get engaged.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah.
very affordable.
That is a great point for getting married early. I'm sorry, babe. I'm just not making that much money.
Hey, the theory says to do 3 months, so I'm following the rules.
Yeah, I like this. I like this logic a lot.
Yeah, and this blows my mind because, do you know the average?
So you're right. I think most people will say, oh, it's 3 months worth of income. I believe, I've done no research on this, so this is anecdotal only, but I believe that an average ring is going to be somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000. That's what most people would pay for one.
Gotcha.
However, what I have seen happening is the size of the diamonds that are being given out to young women today are way bigger than I remember them being when I first proposed. So in 20 years, I think what's happened is either we've gotten way more used to borrowing a boatload to buy our engagement ring, or people are just expecting larger rings.
Yeah. I think combination of both for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, no, 1/3 of a carat? No.
Yeah.
We gotta do more than that. So, yeah, I remember the ring that I bought for Jen was, I think it was a 1/4 carat on either side and 3/4 of a carat in the middle. So, it ended up being like, I guess it was 1.5 carats with all of that together.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's the clarity and the cut and the quality and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that determines the price of the diamond. But I want to say it was right around $5,600 is what I paid for the ring.
Yeah. And this is just the engagement ring.
Just the engagement.
We're not even talking about, the actual ring, the 5-year anniversary ring, the 10-year, and
so this is my point. I'm glad you brought this up. I had an interaction with the young guy who was saying, "Oh, I'm looking at this ring for my soon-to-be fiance," and I said, "Well, what? Tell me about what you're looking at." And he had a $10,000 ring picked out it had a pretty significant diamond on it.
Would you have worn it?
I probably would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'd have said yes. Yeah. But I said, dude, this is insane that you're thinking about this big a ring because what do you do at the 10-year anniversary, the 20-year anniversary?
Yeah.
So I think I don't know the exact answer to how much should I spend on an engagement ring, but my recommendation is less than you think you probably should.
That's a good answer.
Or at the very least, have a conversation around what is important.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's important.
Yeah. For me, so in terms of what's important, right? Like the ring is, this is a behavioral conversation, right? Like as a minimalist, I don't need that many things. Things aren't as important to me. I just want to make sure that I have utils and find joy in the things. So I actually have a ring here. It is not an engagement ring, and I'll hold it close to the camera so you guys can see. But it is you can see it. That's how tiny it is. But it is a gold ring that I wear on my left pinky finger, and it has a map of the world. And for me, what's important about this is that it represents that I am out to travel the world, and it's on my left pinky because it's a pinky promise to myself to make a global difference. So every time I see this ring, it reminds me of those two ways that I really like to live life.
Yeah.
And so, in knowing that spending a lot of money isn't important to me, how much do you think this ring cost me?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say $300.
$300. That's a good guess. So you are about 10 times
Too high.
Yeah. So this ring, including shipping from Athens, Greece, was $34.90.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got it from Etsy.
Very
So
nice.
for me, for the future boo out there, I just want you to know what really matters to me is, the story behind why you got me what you got me. You can spend $100, that's totally fine. I'm more than satisfied with that.
You were totally gonna buy your fiance a cubic zirconia, aren't you?
What is that?
A fake diamond.
Oh. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. There you go. That's what every girl wants.
Yes.
Here's the reason that we wanted to cover this topic. That whole idea of how much should I spend on an engagement ring leads to further conversations around how much is the wedding, how much is the honeymoon, are you going to buy a house, and further down the road, does someone want to stay at home when the kids come, and all those kinds of things. The engagement ring is the first major financial decision that you make as a couple that could really set the stage for what your relationship looks like financially. And so having a really thorough discussion around how much should be spent on that token of your love for each other is super important. For some people, it may be that you want to drop 10 grand.
Yeah.
My recommendation is if you are digging a massive hole in order to profess your love to this person, be very, very careful in terms of what that means down the road.
Yeah.
Right? Because of so many marriages that have financial issues. Yeah.
The other thing I want to say also is there is a shift in the in society, right? Because one thing around communication, I know a lot of my friends who will actually take their fiance ring shopping. And so for me, I was always like, oh no, it's supposed to be a surprise. You're not supposed to let them know that you're about to propose. But for a lot of my friends, they say, oh, it was the best thing ever because she actually liked a ring, and at the cost that it was a lot less than I would have expected to spend.
Interesting.
So also knowing that, maybe your partner isn't so much concerned in the price of a ring,
right?
Or so how it looks, or if it's minimalist or whatever, $30, gold ring. So
you are totally not going to find a woman who wants a $30 ring, though. I'm just telling you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm willing to spend. Okay, I'm willing to spend. And if you want a higher ring, wait a little bit more into my business, so you would get the 3
There
rings.
you go. Nice.
Yeah.
I like that notion though, that if they are picking it out, maybe it is less than what you would normally spend.
And it's something that they like.
Right.
It's one of my concerns, as I'm about to entertain this conversation soon, or in a couple of years, is I want to make sure she likes it.
Right.
Because last thing I want is to spend a couple grand, $5,000, and then be like, oh, yeah, don't like that cut.
So this reminds me of a story that a friend of mine broke into his girlfriend, now wife's, Pinterest account. And she had a ring board on Pinterest.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
And that was ultimately how he selected the ring that she wanted. Because he was going to go a very traditional route, and she wanted something that was completely non-traditional.
Yep.
So also another reason to have that conversation ahead of time.
Totally.
So in the grand scheme of things, how much should I spend on an engagement ring? It varies. It's up to you. It should be less maybe than what you think. Have a conversation with your partner, and do yourself a favor and don't go deeply in debt in order to make this happen. You got lots of opportunity to show that woman how much you love her over time.
Or man.
Yeah, exactly.
So, challenge.
Yes.
Challenge.
The challenge is this. First of all, I want to know what is the range, maybe? What is the range you would spend on a ring, low to high? And then ask your parents how much they spent on the engagement ring. Because I think that would be an interesting benchmark on how much should be spent. Yeah?
Yeah, very cool.
Cool.
Savvy.
Very good. On tomorrow's show, we are talking about, we're taking it back to the old school.
Literally.
Literally school. We're going to talk about FAFSAs tomorrow. Super riveting stuff. You're going to love it. Tune in, check us out, like, subscribe, comment down below. Send us an email if you have questions to questions@masteryofmoney.com. Until then,
Put a ring on it.
put a ring on it.